In 𝗢𝗓 Fatimiyya, what you notice, unfortunately, year after year, 𝗢𝗓 Fatimiyya is happening, and someone's talking about X, someone's talking about Y, but no one's talking about the actual incident. So I'm very happy today that, mashallah, we're actually talking about the topic of Fatima Zahra, not I by Shia. Send salawat. My topic today, as I've got the Sayyid Wasif broke it down earlier, Sayyid Raza broke it down earlier, they kind of set me up for a perfect stance. First, someone talked about the fadail of Sayeda Fatima Zahra. Afterwards, we talk about the Sunni traditions about them trying to threaten and attack the house of Sayeda Zahra. I'm going to now go a step further and talk about it from our sources. A common misconception that spread amongst our youth as well, amongst our people, as well as the ghairs, the mukhalifin, is did 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗣𝗢𝗥𝗓 alayhi salam defend Sayeda Zahra? The topic at hand I want to discuss today is, did 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗣𝗢𝗡 alayhi salam defend Sayeda Zahra? For years we've heard this kalam about, how did this event happen? How did this event happen? What was Mawla Ali doing? Didn't he defend? That's what we normally hear from the Nasibis and the Mukhalifin. So inshallah, Aj, we're going to take this topic and discuss this. So first of all, I'm going to quote from our sources and talk about that attack was unexpected. Sometimes it gets narrated, and when we break it down, it sometimes seems like it was a long period of time, and there was a long time period and it took a long time. In reality, this attack took seconds. It wasn't something that was very fast, very slow going, it was very fast. Let's talk about the reference from 𝗦𝗨𝗐𝗦𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗙. Yeah, Allama Muhammad Baqir Majlisi rahmatullah alayh. Unki kitab, the book, his name is Jalal Uyun, volume 1, page 151 to 152. What's the riwayah? It has been narrated through reliable chains of narrators from 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗡𝗦 bin Qays al-Hilali and others, from Salman and Abbas, who both said, and the following text is from the book of 𝗧𝗨𝗥. 𝗧𝗨𝗥 bin Qays said, when Ali alayhi salam saw the betrayal of the people towards him, and the neglect of support to him, and their assembly with Abu Bakr and their obedience to him, and glorification of him, he held back his allegiance. Then Umar said to Abu Bakr, what prevents you from sending us to him so that he may pledge allegiance? Send us to him. For indeed there is no one left who has not paid allegiance except for him and others than these four. Until 𝗧𝗨𝗥 bin Qays said, then Umar shouted till he was heard by Ali and Fatima, salamun alayha, by Allah, you will go out, O Ali, and you will pay the allegiance to the successor of the Messenger of Allah. Otherwise, I will set your house on fire. Then Fatima, salamun alayha, said, O Umar, what is between us and you? Then he said, open the door, otherwise I will burn your house. Then she said, O Umar, will you not fear Allah? Will you enter my house? Then he denied to go away. Umar asked for fire, and then set fire on the door and he kicked it. Then Fatima salamun alayha faced him and screamed, O Father, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then Umar raised the sword while it was in his sheath and hit her side with it. Then she screamed, O Father. Then he raised the whip and hit her arms with it. And then she screamed, O Messenger of Allah, how bad is it what Abu Bakr and Umar did after you? Until 𝗧𝗨𝗥 said, I said to Salman, did they enter the house of Fatima without permission? Matlab Salman Farsi. He said, yes, by Allah, there was no veil on her. And she screamed, O Father, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, O Father, how bad is what Abu Bakr and Umar did while your eyes have not vanished in your grave? She screamed with her loudest voice. I wanted to set a foundation, a muqaddimah, so that I can then explain and break things down to you. This was the actual riwayah from my books. I'm going to actually break down to you and say, what happened here? I mentioned in this hadith that she had no veil. Veil means the face covering, not the hair. No man in this earth has seen Sayeda Zahra's hair. It means the face. What does that mean? It means it happened quickly. Yeah. If it was something that was on a slow period of time, she would have had a face covering. For her to say, I had to grab my veil, it means it happened quick. When they attacked the house, she's tried to defend the door. When she's defended the door, so they haven't said, knock on the door, please let us in. It's gone 1 second, in. Burn the house, kick the door. When they've kicked the door, she's hiding behind the door. She's trying to push the door onto them. And then she's been pushed behind the door and her ribs have been fractured. This is the incident of the door, and this is why Sayeda Zahra was injured. Now, someone could argue and say, okay, this much we know. What happened with Mawla Ali? Where was Mawla Ali alayhi salam in this time period? What was he doing? This is a common itiraz that we hear. What was Mawla Ali doing? What was happening to him? Let me explain to you. Send salawat. Mawla Ali alayhi salam defended Sayeda Zahra. I'm going to give you 3 sources on this. 3 sources. Write it down, memorize it, watch this video whenever you want to listen to it. I'm going to give you 3 sources. First 2 sources are from Kitab al-Imama by Kitab Sulaym bin Qays. Sulaym ibn Qays al-Amiri al-Hilali. So the first reference is in Kitab Sulaym bin Qays, it says Imam Ali leapt up. As soon as this happened, what did Imam Ali do? He leapt up and grabbed him by the collar. He grabbed him by the collar and pushed him away. He fell, Umar fell, and injured his neck and nose. He, Imam Ali, resolved to kill him. He then remembered the statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what he had beneathed to him. He then said, by the one who has honored Muhammad with prophethood, O son of Sahaq, had the book of Allah not been in front of me, and the pledged to me by the Messenger of Allah, you would have known that you would have not entered my house today. So straight away we see Mullah Ali did defend. He did put him on the floor, but then he said, you're lucky that the Prophet gave me this pledge and what he told me not to do after his passing, so you're going to get life today. That's one reference. It carries on. Umar yelled out for help. The people came over until they entered the house, and Ali reached for his sword. 𝗙𝗢𝗧𝗜𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗢 returned to Abu Bakr, and he feared that Ali would come out to him with his sword. Having known of his bravery and determination, Abu Bakr said to 𝗙𝗢𝗧𝗜𝗙𝗧, return and see if he comes out, or else break down his house. And if he still refuses, burn down his house upon him. 𝗙𝗢𝗧𝗜𝗙𝗧, the Mal'oon, returned. He and his companions entered without permission, and Ali reached for his sword. They got to him first. They got to Ali first, because they knew if the 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗡𝗦 comes out, it's game over. And they captured him, and there were many of them. Some of them took their swords out, grabbed him and seized him. They put a rope round his neck. Fatima Zahra came in between them and near the door of the house. 𝗙𝗢𝗧𝗏, the Mal'oon, struck her with a whip. She fell unconscious and she had died on her shoulder. Her mark was visible, meaning when she died, the mark was visible. May Allah curse him and the one who sent him. Okay. So, I've showed you that Mullah Ali indeed did defend Fatima Zahra. That's one reference. Second reference. Same book, Kitab Sulaym. So Ali ibn Abi Talib leapt up. He grabbed the collar of Umar, shook him and went on to twist his nose and throttled him, having resolved to kill him. So he remembered the words of the Messenger of Allah and what he had beneathed to him from the observance of patience and obedience. This is very important. What did the Prophet tell him? Observance of patience and obedience. Have sabr. This is what Imam Ali remembered what the Prophet told him. This is why he didn't kill Umar. He defended, but defended to the limit he was allowed to defend to. He was allowed to defend Sayeda Zahra. What he wasn't allowed to do was kill them. He said, by the one who honored Muhammad by the prophethood, O son of Sahaq, had the book of Allah not been in front of me, you know that you would have not entered my house. And the last part of this is, Umar yelled out for help. This was one hero. Let me finish the other hero. Umar yelled out for help. The people came over until they entered the house. Khalid bin Walid, let's see what sword of Allah done today. He took out his sword to strike Fatima. Imam Ali attacked him with his sword. So he pleaded Ali for mercy. He's begging for mercy. And he refrained. Then Mullah Ali refrained. So now we know the references of Mullah Ali indeed. So when today someone says to you, why didn't Mullah Ali defend? Who told you he didn't defend? Where have we got this mentality from? Last reference. Imam Yaqubi in his Tarikh, volume 2, page 141. Published in 1883 by Brill Publishers, Leiden, Netherlands. Yaqubi narrates that when Abu Bakr and Umar came to know, this is a Sunni source by the way, came to know that a group of Muhajirin and Ansar have assembled with Ali and Fatima's home. Then they came and attacked the house. And Ali came out whilst he had a sword with him. You don't pull out a sword unless you're going to defend. This is the third reference. So why I want to prove this to you right now is, at the moment where we stand, Imam Ali did defend, and these are the 3 different sources. Send salawat. That's the first part of my lecture concluded. That was just to show you the actual incident, and Mullah Ali defended like a lion, Asadullah al-Ghalib. The only reason them two were still alive is because of the agreement and the pact the Prophet gave him. Now, what do we find in sources? So what was this nasiha and what was this thing that the Prophet told Imam Ali? And where do we find sources about this? Let's discuss this first. And then we'll move on to Jawab al-Ilzami. We'll move on to that at the end. The Ummah will betray Imam Ali. What is this hadith? Ye hadith, Imam Hakim in his Mustadrak, published by Dar al-Kutub al-Ilmiya, Beirut, volume 3, page 150, hadith 4676 and hadith 4686. Both of these have been declared Sahih by Hakim, and Imam Dahabi has seconded him and said it's Sahih as well. What's the hadith? Imam Ali himself says, verily, a part, matlab juz, not all of it, a part of what the Prophet ﷺ told me is that this ummah would soon betray me after him. This reference, Imam Ali saying, is a part of what the Prophet had told me is that this ummah will betray me after me. Meaning after the Prophet, this ummah will betray you. So we already know that Imam Ali knew what they were going to do after. This is a foundation. Second reference for the same source. Al-Busiri termed this hadith to be Hasan in 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗡𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗙 volume 9, page 247, hadith 8916, published by al-Maktab al-Rushd. So we've got authentications for this source now. Okay. Now, what did the Prophet say to Imam Ali? Imam Ali narrates in another hadith. Imam Ali said that if the Prophet said that there will be dispute after me, there will be ikhtilaf after me, or an event, if it's possible for you, maintain peace, tranquility, then do so. Who narrates this? Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal in his Musnad, volume 1, page 469, hadith 695, published by Darul Hadith Cairo. The annotator of the book, the Muhakkik, Ahmed Shakir, in his footnote, termed this hadith sahih. So now we have two evidences where Imam Ali was told they're going to betray you, and he was told to keep patience. Not only in our sources, in the Mukhalifin sources as well. Furthermore, Imam Haythami has said, Abdullah ibn Ahmed has quoted this hadith, and all the narrators are thiqat. They're all reliable. Majma' Zawaid, volume 7, page 234, published by Maktab al-Qudsi. So now we know that Imam Ali knew there was going to be dispute, and he was told to keep patient. Said salawat. One source just in regards to us about this promise that the Prophet told Imam Ali from our own sources, and then I'll move on to Jawab al-Ilzami inshallah. Sheikh Tusi, rahmatullah alayhi, what does he say? Jabir ibn Abbas narrates that the Prophet made a will to Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, O Ali, Quraysh will expose themselves against you, and will gather themselves in oppressing and forcing you. Look at the ilm al-ghaib of the Prophet. Thus, if you find helpers, then go for a fight against them. If you find helpers, go fight them. But if you don't, then don't revolt and safeguard your blood, as martyrdom is behind you. May Allah withdraw His mercy on the one who kills you. Shaykh Tusi mentioned this in his 𝗙𝗢𝗙 al-Ghaiba, page 122, published by Al-Manshurat Al-Fajr, Lebanon. So now we know from our sources, this was the pledge that the Prophet told Imam Ali. Said salawat. And just as a passing comment, the Prophet compared Imam Ali to Harun alayhi salam. The Prophet compared Imam Ali to Harun alayhi salam. There's a reason for that, not just the element of succession, but also their circumstances were similar. What do I mean here? The Prophet says to Imam Ali, so observe patience on the injustice. This is Kitab Sulaim again. So observe patience on the injustice of the Quraysh upon you and their protests against you. For you are the status which Harun had with Musa, and those that follow them are of the status of the ones who followed the calf. The people that followed Samiri, the people that are going to oppress you, they're doing what they done to Harun. And Musa ordered Harun to be a Khalif amongst them, saying, and if they were to stray, that he should find Al-Ansar. Musa said to Harun, if you find Ansar, fight them. What did Harun do in the Quran? He didn't fight them. He never had Ansar. Same situation as Imam Ali. So this hadith al-Manzila, there has so many different tafsil you can go into, but I just wanted to share that with you to show you this hadith is gold. So memorize that. Salawat. And the ending of that is he should withhold his hand and save his blood and not create differences. So when people say, oh, why didn't Imam Ali fight? Why didn't he say nothing? Not fighting doesn't mean you accept someone. If I don't fight an oppressor, doesn't mean I accept him. This qaida, where are you getting this qaida from? If there's an oppressor on you and you don't fight that oppressor, does that mean because I haven't fought that oppressor, now I accept that oppressor? This qaida is galat. Otherwise, if you apply this qaida, all of the Banu Umayyah, Banu Abbas, that even the Mukhalifin accept as zalimeen, does that mean we accept them? Even they'll say, no, they weren't bad, they weren't Rashideen. No, but that means you never fought against them, that means you accept them. Ye qaida is galat. Send salawat. Jawab al-Ilzami. Now, people like to be persistent in the Mukhalifin. If someone wants to be persistent on this issue and say, because it's spared, they give us da'an. They say, look, Imam Ali alayhi salam, you say he was Asadullah, Hamdulillah, we accept him as a lion of God, you astaghfirullah insult him. They see our Aqidah as we're insulting Imam Ali, and they make it a big hoorah that, you know, how can you say this happened and this is an insult to Imam Ali. So I've already showed you that Imam Ali did defend, and I told you the limit he defended to was because of the nasiyah of the Prophet. But if someone's ziddi on this issue, let me give some examples from their own sources, and I want to apply the same, I want to see consistency now. The same level of consistency they're holding Imam Ali to, I want to see if they apply it to their own people. And then you'll see if they're actually sincere or not. The first tradition is from Bukhari. It says, about Nabi Ibrahim, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger said, the Prophet Ibrahim migrated with his wife Sarah, till he reached a town where there was a king or a tyrant, okay, who sent a message to Ibrahim, alayhi salam, ordering him to send Sarah, salamullah alayha, to the king. So when Ibrahim had sent Sarah, so he sent Sarah, alayhi salam, salamullah alayha, this is their source, it's not Hujjah's, we don't believe this. The tyrant got up, intending to do evil with her. I'll tell you what that evil was. But she got up and performed ablution, and prayed and said, Ya Allah, if I have believed in you and in your apostle, then do not empower this oppressor over me. So the king had an epileptic fit and started moving his legs violently, meaning the king lost it. He probably died. He started moving his leg violently. He couldn't do the evil he planned to do. Sahih Bukhari, page 1720, hadith 6950. Okay. Ibn Hajar, who's the famous muhaddith for Ahl Sunnah, he writes in his commentary, Fathul Bari, he has a commentary of Bukhari. What does he write? And there is dispute in regards to the reason why Ibrahim gave this order to be taken, along with the fact that the oppressor had intended to rape her. The king had intended to rape a man's wife. So, and it didn't matter to him whether she was status of wife, whether it was sister or his wife. So meaning the king, that's what he intended to do. But Ibrahim alayhi salam, according to this hadith, sends his wife to her. So Ibrahim alayhi salam sends his wife, even though he knows the king's intention is to do bad stuff. And if it is said that this was the religion of the king to touch married women, as it is said, and this opinion is complementary, and this is that Ibrahim intended to remove the greater loss. Okay, let me explain. Basically, the king would rape people's wives. Ibn Hajar is saying, if you're sending your wife, why did Ibrahim, because it doesn't mention in this hadith, but in other sources it mentions that Ibrahim said, it's not my wife. Ibrahim alayhi salam said, this is not my wife, this is my sister. So Ibn Hajar is saying, I don't understand, what difference does it make? He was going to rape her regardless. So why did Ibrahim alayhi salam say this? He says, is that Ibrahim intended to remove the greater loss by committing a minor one. And that was that it was inevitable that he would rape. That was, the king was going to do that anyway. But if he becomes aware that she has a husband in life, jealousy would leave him to kill the husband as well. After he would rape the woman, he would kill the husband as well, or imprison him or hurt him. But as opposed to this, if he gets to know that she has a brother, which according to the tradition Ibrahim lied and said, I'm her brother instead, because the jealousy will only be from his side of the brother in particular and not from the king's side, so he would not care about that and he basically wouldn't kill Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibn Hajar mentions that in Fathul Bari, Sahih Bukhari, volume 6, page 650. So page 650. So what is he saying? He's saying the reason why Ibrahim lied, alayhi salam lied, according to this, is because he wanted to save his own blood. So he was happy to send his wife and potentially get raped, but as long as he saves his own blood. Now the same consistency they apply on Imam Ali, on the attack of Sayeda Zahra, are they going to apply it to Nabi Ibrahim? What is the fatwa on Nabi Ibrahim? They'll never put the fatwa on Ibrahim. The truth is, this is books of Ali. The same consistency will never be held, but for Ali they'll hold him to this. But for Nabi Ibrahim, they'll say this hadith is fine, no problem. Send salawat. Amr bin Yasir, radiallahu anhu, Ibn Hajar mentions Sumayya, who was the mother of Amr bin Yasir. She was the 7th person who embraced Islam. 7th. Abu Jahl used to torture her and he stabbed her in her private part, and as a result of which she died. So she was the first martyr woman in Islam, first shaheeda. The Messenger of Allah used to pass by Umar and his mother, so he used to pass by them, not actively physically protect them, just walk past them. And what did he used to say? While they were being tortured, and which was an extremely hot ground in a place called Al-Abtu, in a very hot ground in Makkah. So you know what the Prophet used to say? He used to say, O family of Yasir, be patient, for your place is in Jannah. Ibn Hajar mentions that in Al-Isaba, volume 13, page 493. Also Imam Hakim mentions that in Mustadrak, volume 3, page 438, hadith 1234. Hakim said it's sahih by the criteria of Muslim, and Dhahabi said it's sahih as well. So what am I showing you by this? According to your standard, why didn't the Prophet help? This standard that you physically have to do something, and if you don't do something physically, it means astaghfirullah, you're a coward. So are you going to apply the same concept on the Prophet? This is known, by the way, that he walked past Ammar bin Yasir, he didn't do nothing. The Prophet just said, have sabr, Allah will give you Jannah. So let's just say Imam Ali didn't do nothing on that day. Let's just say he stood there and said, Sayeda Zahra, have sabr, Allah will give you Jannah. They would say, oh look, how can you say Imam Ali, but you have this about the Prophet. So you accept this for the Prophet, but the minute we say about the Imam Ali, defending physically, it's still not enough for you. Send salawat. Silence of the Prophet. Okay, another one. Biography, Dhikr Aini ibn Hassan, al-Istiyab, Sheikh ibn Abdul Barr. On one occasion, Aini entered the home of the Prophet without seeking permission. So someone entered the house of the Prophet without seeking permission. Okay. The Prophet ﷺ asked why he failed to ask permission. He replied, Master, I have never sought permission from anyone from the Ghazz tribe. At this time, Aisha was sitting next to the Prophet, and the chief of Bedouins asked, who is this red-faced woman? He replied, this is my wife Aisha. The Bedouin said, Master, listen to this. Master, if you allow me, I shall give you a more beautiful woman in exchange for her. Aisha said, who is this disgraceful person? The Prophet said, he is a fool who is obeyed. As you see, he's the chief of his tribe. According to this standard, the Prophet didn't do nothing. He just said he's a fool. He insulted the Prophet's wife while he was sitting next to him. Is that not insult? If someone said to you, oh, I'll give you a wife better than yours, I'll give you someone more beautiful, is that not a clear insult? Yeah. I think everyone would agree that's an insult. Did the Prophet do anything? No. I have no issue with the Prophet not doing anything. But you've set this standard that you have to do something, otherwise you're a coward. So your standard, are you going to apply the fatwa on the Prophet? No. Send salawat. Now this last one is very important, because this one, you could say it's most similar circumstances. Ibn Taymiyyah al-Nasibi, what does he mention? And it is clear through mutawatir reports that Uthman was one of the most protective people for the blood of the people to be shed. And he remained patient against those who abused his wife, and against those who tried to shed his blood and surrounded him and tried to kill him. Even though Muslims came to help him from all sides and asked him to let them to fight with those who wanted to kill Uthman. But he ordered people to refrain from fighting and ordered those who obeyed him to not fight back. Minhaj al-Sunnah al-Nabawiyah, volume 6, page 286. Ibn Taymiyyah saying, when Uthman was besieged and the people were trying to kill him, those people entered his house and they actually physically abused his wife as well, and they killed him. People were trying to help Uthman, that his supporters. Uthman said, no, don't help me. So his wife was abused, and people said, let us help you. He said, no, I don't want to fight back. I'm just going to sit here. What is Ibn Taymiyyah saying it as a tarif? Look at the sabr of Uthman. He basically wanted to avoid bloodshed. So when Uthman does it, it's sabr and avoiding bloodshed. When Mullah Ali does it, he's a coward. Ibn Kathir, in a report mentioned from Al-Gharif al-Ibn Harb, came to him after Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr and hit him with the iron that he had in his hand and hit the Mus'haf, the Quran, with his foot. The Quran was knocked in the air and landed in Uthman's hands, and the blood flew over it. Then Sudan ibn Hamran came to hit Uthman with his sword. Then Nahila, which is Uthman's wife, faced him, so he cut off her fingers. Then she turned away. He hit his hand to her rear end, and said, oh, what a big rear end you have. So he's insulting her and physically abusing her. He hit Uthman and killed him. Ibn Kathir mentions that in Al-Badaya wal-Nihaya, volume 10, page 315 to 316. Let me ask you a question. It's clear from this narration that they physically even abused Uthman's wife. Whether I agree with this or not is irrelevant. The point is in your sources. What I'm asking you is, Uthman stood there, didn't do anything. And do you know what they say? The same reason when we say about Imam Ali, the reason Mullah Ali defended but didn't kill them was because the Prophet gave him patience and told him not to. Let me tell you what they say for Uthman. Watch this hadith. And I'm going to finish at this. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, in his Musnad, volume 40, page 297, hadith 24253. Look at that. They make the same thing into a merit. Narrated to us Yahya from Ismail, from Qais, from Abi Salah, from Aisha, who said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, call for me for one of my companions. Call for me some of my companions. I said, do you want Abu Bakr? He said no. I said, do you want Umar? I said no. I said, do you want your cousin Ali? He said no. I said, do you want Uthman? He said yes. Now listen. By the way, whenever this tartib comes, just know it's a fabrication. Mind them. Whenever this sequence comes, It's a fabrication. Just understand this. I'll explain it another day. When Uthman came, he said, leave us alone. So Prophet said, leave us alone. Me and Uthman need to do some private discussions now. Okay. And then he started chatting with him. And the color of Uthman was changing. On the day of the attack of his house, when he was surrounded and his house was besieged, we said, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, don't you want to fight? Uthman, he said, no. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ made a covenant with me and I will remain patient in it. 𝗧𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗙, the muhakkik of the book, said that chain is sahih. So Uthman used this and said, look, the Prophet told me to have patience. I'm not going to fight back. Even if my wife is physically abused, I'm not going to fight back. So if you can accept it for Uthman, 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗣𝗢𝗡𝗦 circumstances were never like this. Why can't you accept it for 𝗦𝗨𝗣𝗣𝗢𝗡𝗦 Ali? And 𝗦𝗨 Ali did fight back. So it just shows you the double standards. If you can accept it for Uthman, you should have no issue with Imam Ali. If you have no issue with Nabi Ibrahim, if you have no issue with Uthman, if you have no issue with Nabi Ibrahim lying about his wife saying it's my sister and potentially allowing her to be raped, you should have no issue with 𝗦𝗨 Ali. If you have no issue with Uthman allowing his wife to be physically abused and killed and not asked, and he had supporters. 𝗦𝗨 Ali didn't have supporters. Uthman did have supporters, but he said don't fight because the Prophet told me. You can accept it for him, accept it for 𝗦𝗨 Ali. And the third one is Umar bin Yasir and Aisha, when the Prophet himself didn't do nothing, are you going to apply the fatwa on the Prophet? The day you apply the fatwa on the Prophet, Nabi Ibrahim and all your people, then you can apply your fatwa on Imam Ali as well. And I'll finish the speech there.